Hello, everybody. Welcome to Resilience Plus Rise, the podcast where we transform or where we see that adversities have been transformed into triumphs. We illuminate the extraordinary potential within all of us. I'm your host, Thomas Scaria. I'm a coach, a resilience coach. I'm an ultra marathoner, and a firm believer that your next chapter, your most powerful chapter, it could be already opened up, beginning of the year, or it's going to start. Resilience Plus Rise is not just a podcast, it's a movement, a space where ordinary lives become extraordinary inspiration. Together, we explore transformative power of resilience and the mind shifts, turn the challenges into opportunities. This podcast is a companion of my upcoming book, Resilience Plus Rise 26.2 Transformative Miles to Unleash the Marathon of Your Life Mindset, supposed to be coming out early 2025. Here we amplify stories of hope, perseverance, success to inspire journey. Just a few moments back, I said a space where ordinary lives become extraordinary inspiration. Today, I'm so excited to host Mariel Anderson. Her mission, she's rebuilding the village for kids and youth through connection, sustainability. But more than that, what got my attention and why I connected with her was her tagline: "See the light, be the light." I've spoken to her, and what I see is nothing but encouragement for others to see the light in this world, the good, the love, the energy, and of course, being the light. She goes by basically four rules, but one of the most important one is be kind, which she has tattooed on her. You'll see it in a moment, tattooed on her knuckles. The other one is respect yourself, respect each other, respect the environment. There are so many things I would like to talk, but then I would like Mariel to start from here on. And Mariel, the platform is yours. Welcome to Resilience Plus Rise.
Thank you so much. And here it is for everybody who's watching instead of listening. Be kind. It's backwards in the camera.
Whatever it is, you know what message is put across, and there you are. So,
Yeah.
Mariel,
Yes,
and
Thomas.
knowing about where you have come from and what all I mean I've known that she has been an elite athlete, and maybe that's the reason always striving to work towards being more athletic, etc. I'm trying, it's work in progress. But what I realized about Mariel is that she's creating a movement based on her own belief. So if you could take the audience through who you were, what happened, and where you are now. It's yours.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Who am I? I love that question because my answer to it is always just I am. And I literally have that one tattooed right
Wow. So says
here.
Yoha. I am that I am.
Because I'm a firm believer in that we can be whatever it is that we say that we are.
Hmm.
And I grew up in a very Christian conservative home. I was homeschooled until grade 7. And then I went to private school for quite a few years. I did 1 year of public school. I was an elite athlete through college, university. And like everybody else, I'm sure we all face struggles and we all have trauma in some way, shape, or form. It might look different, but we all have that. And something that I have always latched on to is what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And a lot of people struggle with that saying, but I do really believe it. And recently, I have actually come across a newer term,
Hmm.
and it's anti-fragile.
Hmm.
And what it is when you have something that's fragile, it breaks easy. There's any sort of stress and it's going to break, right? And then you have resilience.
Sure.
And resilience is amazing. We all want to be resilient, hence your podcast and the book. And right. And so, but resilience is, when we look at the definition of it and what something that is resilience is that it doesn't break under pressure or under stress, but it also doesn't get better. It just is. And then, so this term anti-fragile is coming in because what it is it's the opposite. And that is something that actually needs the stressors and the adversity and the struggle in order to become stronger, to become better.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learned this term a couple of years ago, and it just hit me. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, because we're all walking through struggles. We're all walking through these crazy things that happen to us throughout our lives. And if we don't take action and acknowledge that whatever we came through was extremely difficult and hard, but also then take action to look for the lesson and to see how can we utilize that total pain point or struggle or whatever that was in order to make us better and stronger for what's coming next and who we are now and in the future.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, really important. And so, yeah, that's kind of who I am, is I'm somebody who lives with an anti-fragile mindset. And I really believe in creating impact wherever you go. And I think that, a lot of people think that impact has to happen in big ways.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's not true. Impact can happen when you smile at a stranger or help somebody with their groceries that can't carry them to the car, or impact can happen in such small ways. But those small things add up. And that's a part of my tagline too. Right? When you're able to be the light, that's something that's so simple. You can smile, you can help somebody, you can send somebody a text saying, hey, I think you're on my mind, whatever that is. And you don't know what the impact that is having on the other side. Somebody could be in the total darkest place of their light or life. And all of a sudden in that moment, because of some small action you're taking, you are their light and you're providing hope.
Super.
Right. And then the see the light part is because we all end up in darkness at some point. We all end up in total pain, in grief, lost, confused, like pain. Right. And so in those points, it's okay to be there, but we need to look for the light because there is light somewhere. And when we stop looking for the light and seeing where the light is, then we stay hurt and in the darkness. So those are just a couple of things.
Fantastic. Super. So there are two things which just came up. Number one is that had I known the word anti-fragile, I would have put it, because this particular book is exactly that. We say about resilience plus rise. Resilience is when you bounce back,
Yeah.
but keeping going and getting more stronger after that time when you have been hit. That's where I put in resilience plus rise.
Yes, I love it.
So maybe I should, if I had known that word anti-fragile previously, I would have renamed this title of the book as Anti-Fragile.
It can be book number 2.
Why not? For sure. This actually comes to the next particular point, is that when you mentioned when people may be in the darkest of place, or times wherein you may just open a door for a stranger and they don't know what's going on their mind. Uh, I've gone through your information, etc. But what was the tipping point for Mariel? I know that you say that there are no impacts, that's large impact suddenly to just take out the hat and say, okay, let me go and change the world. But what were the events that changed you? What were the events that just blew your heart, your soul, saying that, hey guys, I'm not existing, I will live?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think it for me, it hasn't so much been a moment, but my whole journey.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was just turned 15, I was raped. And I did not have a community around me, adults in my life, or anybody that was safe for me to go to and take that information to. And I grew up in a Christian household. Yeah, you know what? I share it on my podcast, and you know, I've learned my lessons and all of that. But um because I lacked a community of people that had the skill set and the non-judgmental, you know, way, and who were just loving and unconditional love and all of that kind of stuff, that for me at that age started a path of me having to like try and figure out how to rise on my own. And it didn't go so well at first. It led to 2 years later, I was actually gang raped 2 years later. And then at that point, that was a big turning point with my lifestyle. I stopped drinking. I stopped going to parties. I really buckled down. I dove into psychology, ended up getting my BA in counseling and all of that kind of stuff. And I think that if we actually pause, that a lot of times we become or try to create what we needed.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time I was about 19 years old, I was creating my village because I didn't have one. I
Mm-hmm.
was creating my community. I was becoming a safe place for people who were struggling or had traumatic events or had, you know, all of these going on, similar to what I had experienced. I was now creating that space where people could come and be safe and get help and all of those kind of things. And so that, I guess that was a tipping point for me, was going from continuing down a path of staying in the seat of being a victim and continuing to put myself in situations to, okay, this has happened to me. How can I learn from it? How can I help people who are going through the same thing? And how can I be proactive for the future? And that kind of all went along. I ended up becoming a counselor. I worked for a long time at safe houses for young men. I, you know, worked with men on their intimacy issues because hurt people hurt people. And so I also thought that, you know, that's a way that I could be proactive too, is by helping men heal issues with their own self and all of that kind of stuff. And so for me, struggles that have come up in my life have always been a place where I call a pause. And I sit in the emotion, like you have to process it, you have to go through it, get the help, get the tools, all that kind of stuff. But then also, rather than staying there, I've said, okay, now how can I utilize this to make me stronger? And how can I utilize this so that I can impact more people in a positive way and help more people? Does that answer your question?
There are a few times wherein I'm kind of loss of words, but this has been one of them. Thank you for, yeah, allowing me to hear that particular story. Yeah, you do say it in a podcast, fair enough. But then at times, when in its own way, we are strangers. And of course, I do say is that uh, who are friends, they are strangers we have not met. And
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you for that. But there are a couple of things which just comes up over here. Is that now when you mention about being hurt, I have always believed, and it's one of the parts of this particular book, is about our brightest of lights come from the wounds
Mm.
we have got. That's said by Rumi, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Something in that particular thing. It's only when we are hurt and when we are scarred, that's when the light starts emitting.
Yeah.
And I have just heard that from you. And also, when I'm doing this particular podcast, I should have mentioned it before, but then I will say it now, is that I think about the power of one, even if it's one person who's listening to this podcast.
Mhm.
And guys, if you're one of them, And if you know, I'll be putting out the links of Mariel in the comments. Please have a look. If you know somebody who's hurting or who's crying and who wants to be heard, please, please reach out to Mariel.
Yeah.
Okay, she could be the person that they are looking out for. May or may not be the answer, but at least she would
Yeah.
start a process to help you in the next particular thing. So this is what I would like to say. So moving on,
Yeah.
tell me more. Is that okay? You started making the village, growing the village, and you already told about the struggles that you've been had about being abused, and you had the I don't know the drinking problem and things like that. Uh, but when you were transforming,
Mm.
what were the attributes that got you to be resilient? And then of course when you got resilient, then that's the anti-fragile which comes up, that you got made you stronger. But what were the elements that made you stronger
Mm.
so that you could close that door and move into a brighter new world which you believe that and you know that it will create the beautiful impact for a lot of people?
Mm. I think a big part of it was that you you have to detach your identity from it. So just because something happens to you does not mean that that is who you are. And a, a lot of people don't know how to do that. It's hard. It's
Sure.
not easy. Like being resilient and rising, being anti-fragile, having mental toughness, mental grit. It's not easy. But I would rather have the hard and continue to choose the hard path that is leading me to a place where I can influence people for the better and uh, and and help people rather than the hard that it is to sit in the same spot and continue to be a victim. Both are hard. Both are hard.
Both are hard, but again it's always again there was a person who had come and they mentioned is that at times people they don't mind being in that uncomfortable zone because that's what the only thing which they know.
Mhm.
What you mentioned about moving away from the identity, yeah, for us at times it is easy that it's not happening to you, it is happening for your growth. I had amazing personality who has been fourth stage cancer, but then she says now the cancer she thrives on it. She
Mm.
has found a beauty in life
Yeah.
because of what she has gone through.
Yeah.
I've had a talk with ex CEO who had OD'd 4 times in 2 months,
Mm.
realizing what life was all about.
Yeah.
If I could be upfront over here, yes, you went through that trauma from the age of 15 till 19. Okay. And maybe, I mean, you mentioned you did not know where to turn to and you were just scared, whatever it was. So, for a lot of people, it would be that same story, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Go to therapy.
Okay.
Go to therapy. And I mean, I went to therapy. I still go to therapy because there is extreme power in having somebody who is not your friend or
Hmm.
not a family member who is there just to advocate for you and who has the tools to pass you and teach you how to use.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does. Hmm.
Right. And so, and for me in therapy, I used a process called EMDR. And it's about eye movement, and it's quite like it's really good for trauma. And so there's different styles of therapy that help for different things as well. And so
Hmm.
if you are listening to this podcast and you're somebody who has trauma in your life and you're ready to rise and to see who you are on the other side of that, then I would suggest that you go to therapy, try and find somebody who does an EMDR practice. And because that really, it helps free and change the trauma in your mind and allows you to explore other perspectives of it. It's kind of hard to explain, but that was a huge part for me, was therapy. And I mean, I am a therapist.
Okay.
I still went to therapy.
Guys, just over here, I've just known Mariel in the recent past, and I'm proud to say she's an amazing human. So you may want to just connect with her to find out what are the process, if you don't
Mhm.
know where to look into.
Yeah.
Or should I go to a stranger and see what's happening around?
Yeah.
You can hold me accountable because I'm telling her to go to her. But this is where I am. So, Mariel, now we have got into this particular area wherein you are on to the wellness, the um, health stats of the people that you know, creating the village, becoming the different elements, and you have got your program,
Mhm.
okay, the artistic program which you've been working on. Okay. Do you want to say what's in the pipeline now? It's 2025, it's just started. And what's there in the pipeline? What can people look into, or if they connect with you, what happens?
Yeah, I'm super excited. So for the past few years, I actually had a nonprofit, and we just received our charity status. So we're now a registered Canadian charity. You can visit us at faecanada.ca, and we'll put it in the links. But what we are doing is we're recreating the village, and we're not trying, we're being proactive about the mental health issues. So right now, with all of the mental health pandemic that's going on globally, 90% of the helplines are being reactionary. They're reactive to help pick up the pieces that are on the other side. And that is 100% needed for sure. But there are not very many programs that are trying to be proactive and working with kids and youth in order to teach them life skills, emotional regulation, all of these different things that will help them grow into being healthy, well-rounded, anti-fragile members of society who are contributing. So the program that we're working on is called Grounded Village.
Hmm.
And what we're doing is we're connecting the elders in the community with the kids and the youth ages 5 to 18, because there is a massive disconnect between those generations. And the elders in the community have so much to offer with experience and wisdom and time and love and care and all of this stuff that the kids and youth of today are really, really needing. And we used to get that when we lived in multi-generational families in houses. But now we don't see that happening very often anymore, right? And so what we're doing is we're creating a platform for those different generations to be able to come together and really connect and build solid relationships. And we are basing it all also around being sustainable with the earth. And so a lot of, connecting with nature, foraging, learning how to plant sustainably, harvesting, all of that kind of stuff. These are all skills that are a lot of times being lost as well, because there were our grandparents who learned how to,
Hmm.
grow and pickle things and all that kind of stuff. And
Sure. Mhm.
yeah. And so this is a way that we are being proactive, is by, just recreating the village, recreating the modern day village. That's what we're doing.
Okay. And is there any specific programs that you are launching in the near future, or it's just work in progress? What's happening?
Right now, we're collecting quite a lot of data to see which program we should start first,
Hmm.
because in the beginning stages of this, we'll be doing programs that are all based in the Fraser Valley, and they will be at satellite sites kind of all over for after school and on weekends. But within the next few years, we'll have our own property that will be the village, which is going to be really exciting. So right now, we're just collecting a lot of data to see which program will be the most impactful for both the youth and the elders in the community. Right now, the program that is kind of winning is called Elder Hour, and it will be where elderly in the community come together, and after school, the kids those ages would go and be able to connect and spend really quality time with those. Yeah.
Fantastic. So that's congratulations and best wishes on those for that particular initiative. What is there? There was one question which came up over here is that being mindful of the time. If there are few takeaways that you would like to tell the person, they may be hesitant about being a part of this particular village, but then if there are some takeaways from what you have learned
Mm.
um, from the traumatic times that you've gone through, but you pulled up your socks and you went in for studies, you knew where you had to work towards to forge an identity,
Mm.
and you realized that you could be the light. What could be something that people could take away? In fact, for me it is so obvious that your five rules or four rules is so prominent. But put it in this way, Maria. Like when I say is that okay, it's easy at this point of time. Maybe few of us have come out of it. We are now got control of our life, but then there might be still people who are struggling. You
Mm.
tell them that okay, you know what, it's okay. Let's try to be the light, or let's try to be kind. It's very difficult.
Mhm.
What do you say? I mean, here maybe I'm doing a judgment, a blanket, but what would you say to the people in general, or take away?
Yeah. Keep going and keep growing. Keep
Hmm.
going, keep growing. In when we are in the place where we are the most uncomfortable or in a lot of just pain, anything, when we feel that oh on the inside of us, that is a signal to us that if we take action and see it as an opportunity, we are able to grow through it, and who you are on the other side of what you are in right now is really excited to meet you.
Okay,
Yeah, keep going, keep growing.
that's a very good one. So anyway, at this point of time, it's amazing. So guys, there's so many nuggets over here. In fact, the learnings, what we have got is an absolute example of a person. I would say I'm blessed to see a phoenix rising from the ashes. It could have happened, it could have gone anyway. After 19, she could have decided, okay, you know what, this is my life and let me just continue the way it is. Maybe this is what life is given to me. Maybe this is my learning that I got to just suffer. But changing the way, getting more resilient and rising above it. And that's what we have seen is that humans are capable of doing. Did Mariel have a magic pill? Did you have a magic pill?
I wish.
Okay. So so we know there was no magic pill, but it was just a power within, knowing that there I can do things differently. I can see things differently. So guys, please like, share, subscribe if this particular podcast resonates with you. And do even if you're not liking or subscribing or sharing, do reach out to somebody who you know is hurting and be kind enough to share the links what Mariel has for you. She's offering you a gift. Don't let it go wasted. So with this, I conclude today's session. Thank you so very much, Mariel. God bless.
Thank you.